Okay, so quite frankly, I talked way too long.
You can just do the welcome to
Flying for Flavor. I got to say it, Stephanie.
Round 2.
Stephanie never lets me welcome
I'm just
people.
going to sit here and drink. This is her show now.
Yeah, I took over. So what happened is, I think we've talked about before, like Flying for Flavor became what it is now with video and multiple co-hosts. Steph and I would get together and drink and record ourselves. And it would go on for hours on end. We've been here for 3 hours.
So you're not even getting the whole thing.
So we're doing a second show. So if you missed our previous show, check on the previous episode. I don't know what number we're at anymore.
It might be the previous episode. It might be second. I might split it up.
So check back. There's a start to our part 1 to our Australia episode where I went on holiday to Australia where I used to live for 3 years. And it was my homecoming after being away for 6.5 years. And I decided to share my experiences with Steph as my friend and with you guys. For those folks who may not get to Australia, or if anything, this will encourage you to make the 17-hour flight to Australia.
You can do it. You can do it.
And we have our mascot here, Rory, today, because she was lonely when Mom was away in Australia. I joked that I did not miss my children, but I totally missed my dog. I was never coming home. I was having such a lovely time. I went, oh, no, I need to come home for my dog. So Rory's here to hang out with us today, too.
And this is Rory's first time at my house in my kitchen. So my kitchen actually has a big living area there with a couple of sofas and stuff. And while we're taping the episode, you don't always notice it, but we're always trying to be distracted because the dog's discovering a new pillow and discovering a new blanket,
rolling around
and looking out the windows. And I can see it. She's doing somersaults on the sofa, and I'm thinking, okay, thank God. I should have put a blanket there too, but. Anyways.
Welcome to Flying for Flavor, the relaxed edition.
Exactly.
You can get sushi on a train in Australia.
Yeah, I saw that little video thing. You'll see it in the clips or whatever, and it was like an assembly line.
Okay, let's just show the video. Don't prejudge it. Okay, so let's look at the video.
You have to describe it for those who are not watching the video.
So basically, on the video, for you people who are not cool and watching us on YouTube, no, I'm just kidding. That was the wrong video. That one was very useless to us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's delete that one.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't download that one.
Okay, so for those of us who
with the food on it
are not being cool, let's look at the one with food on it. So it's literally a conveyor belt with sushi. Now, it doesn't sit on there for hours. It's literally fresh made in front of you like most sushi places are. And every colored plate is a price.
I think there was
So it's like $2 a plate, $3 a plate.
No, and I like the idea of it. So you're sitting in front of that.
Yeah. And it just goes by you and it's got all the lids on it. So people don't lift the lid, touch it, and put it back.
I doubt
I know where you're going. You're a freaking Canadian going, oh my God, all the germs. Okay.
Sorry, it's like me and buffets.
This is not a thing. So this is the other thing about Queenslanders. Let me tell you a little bit about when we went to school there for the first time. My children went to a beautiful school, Milton State School, an amazing 100-year-old building, but super modern, free-thinking kind of way of educating. And the schoolyard was the local park. No fences. So when my kids would go for recess, they're playing in the public park with people all around. And all I could think is, someone's going to kidnap my kid. There's no doors on half of the building. Legit no doors. So they're walking in the hallway, they're walking outside. And if you go to Australia, a lot of the buildings are more open concept and that kind of thing. But literally, they walk out the classroom door, they're just in the public. And I panicked. I was like, my kids can't go here, they're gonna get kidnapped. All these things that we think of when we live in Canada, and I'm assuming the States as well too, because I think we get some of it from our southern cousins. It's not a thing. Literally, Daniel Morecrum was the last kid friggin' kidnapped 12 years earlier. It's such a, and I know his name because it was so prevalent because he was a 12-year-old boy who disappeared 12 years before we lived there. It was that popular.
Everyone talked about it.
It's just not a thing. But your community is smaller. On my street here in Sudbury, I don't know anybody, and I'm on 2 dead-end streets. It's insane.
Yeah, I know a few just because they were clients of mine at one
right?
time.
I went to high school with a lovely lady 2 doors down from me. That's why I know them.
And we're one of the first. We're the first house on the street.
And we're in the middle of the cul-de-sac on a dead end, and we know no one. But in Brisbane, we all knew each other. And if one of our kids was there and out of line, someone else would check in with them. If one of us was missing our kid, all of us stopped. when I went, I took my son on a FaceTime tour of the old neighborhood so we could see his old school, whatever else. And I actually, because I was in the park, had a teacher come up to me and go, "Excuse me, why are you videotaping?" And I'm like, "Thank you so much for asking." And I'm like, "Look, this is my son. We used to live here. I'm just showing him." She's like, "Oh, cool. Thank you so much. Just wanted to check in." It's a different way of life. Because here, God forbid, I spoke to some stranger's child about what they were doing.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's a very different life. And it's the same there. Like here, I could totally see some jackass taking a lid off, sticking their fingers in it, putting a lid back on. It just doesn't happen.
Taking the tempura shrimp out of the middle of the roll.
You know, like and I mean, again, it's like it literally goes right by the kitchen and it's all in full view, so it's not like hidden. I love it. It is a quick and easy way to get it. It's not all you can eat like we have here, which is crazy. Yeah. You pick what you want. You decide how much you're eating based on the colors.
I don't like this all you can eat thing. Anyways, that's a whole other
thing. But it's just, and I mean, and the sushi we can get there, like we've seen it because it's like they do this weird kind of like Americanizing the sushi, and you get sushi with hot dog and ketchup in it. And like bastardization. But they also had our traditional sushis as well too.
Okay.
But Sushi Train, the best way to go out with your family and spend $40 on dinner and everyone be full.
Oh, that's okay.
Sushi Train is huge. Not only that, Adriana Zumbo, who's a very popular Australian patissier, and he's got TV shows and whatever else, he's featured on MasterChef. He's got a bunch of locations, but one of them is located at a casino in Sydney, and it is a dessert train.
Oh,
so picture that train you just looked at with little plates of, like, we're talking masterpiece
I must
desserts.
not have been in the right, because I mean, I was over there for 2 or 3 weeks. Never saw a train once.
You were just going to the wrong places.
I was obviously going to the wrong places.
Now, in all fairness, Stephanie went to Australia and did not ask her friend at any point who lived in Australia where she should go. Just saying. So what you're, and the other thing too is the perspective that you're getting from me too is like the local perspective as well too, right?
I think I did. In all fairness, I'm sure.
I'm teasing you.
I so told you where I was going after, and you
I
were,
don't remember it.
and because you.
Oh, you weren't going anywhere near though.
No,
I was. Melbourne.
I was Sydney, Melbourne. Yeah, I was all in the southern part. So so it was not your usual stomping grounds.
Wow. It's where all the snobby people are. Not cool like Queenslanders.
Seriously, I hit like.
Do we see what my shirt says?
Crazy
Queensland girl.
Oh, that's cute.
Yep. I self-identify as a Kanazi, and I'm a Queenslander.
Oh, it's Kanazi.
Kanazi, that's what we call it.
I love it.
And I've got a friend I met, a Facebook friend I met. She was a scrapbook designer when I lived over. Well, she not anymore, but she's from Calgary.
Yep.
She came over and I did a class with her. She was with one of my favorite companies, and we were Canadian. We're like, oh my God, Canadian. And so I told her, I said, I self-identify as a Kanazi. So to this day, she still calls herself a Kanazi. She's like, I'll never forget that term. I use it all the time. Which
I love it.
So Kanazi. So what else do I have in my yummy things? The other thing I wanted to talk about was, I'll include some stuff. I don't think we need to talk about all this in here, but I'll include it in the show notes. Some really cool things with ice cream happening.
Yeah, well, ice cream is really big everywhere but here, which is kind of strange. So when you go across to Europe...
Because it's too freaking cold here.
But the tourists even in the cold, like, I mean, I've traveled everywhere. So there's always a gelato shop, and there's always, something kind of ice or whatever.
Lots of gelato for sure.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's everywhere. I mean, as much as we have some here, it is not that big of a deal here as it is overseas. And it's just, and it's very possible that they get a lot of tourists.
I think so.
Who are kind of demanding it or expecting it. But yeah, they're not as big here.
So the two cool things that we found in Noosa, my girlfriend Rachel and I, so there's I don't know if we were doing it as a crew take or as an extra added bonus to this episode.
Yeah, I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do that yet. It's just an audio only. So
there's an audio only kind of feature
it'll show
coming,
up at some point.
Where my girlfriend Rachel and I, we both did it after we'd been to Noosa and Brisbane, and we're going to get together again and talk about Melbourne and Sydney, so we'll have another one. But we discovered these two places on Hastings Street. One's called Happy Pops, where they take gelato and they squish it in these molds, and it looks like chocolate bars.
Oh, fun.
And then they do their own kind of like flavor combinations and that kind of thing, and you literally eat it off of a stick. Like
okay. So it's molded almost. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a different way to have it. It was like gourmet gelato with all these different, you could either do their recipes that they already had pre-done, or you could make your own as well too, which was cool. So that was kind of cool. So Happy Pops was a thing on Hastings Street. Yep. And then the other ice cream we did was Neutrogenie. So basically, they're using dry ice.
Yep.
and they're infusing. And this gentleman, he had a way about himself. Like, he was like a showman. He was really lovely.
all
I
about the
tried to
show.
get back in to have a conversation with him, and we just couldn't connect. But what a showman. He was perfectly happy to have me videotaping him, and he put on a little extra show for me. But a super fun, easy concept, because it's not even like this is super homemade. He's literally got a jug of like cream stuff. He dumped into the KitchenAid mixer with the, poured in the liquid nitrogen, and made ice cream, and it was super fun. Yeah. And actually the flavors were fantastic. It tasted really good as well. It's one thing to have all this fancy show and then have it taste like kind of crap. And you'll notice in the picture, there's like a syringe of chocolate in mine, which I did not syringe into my ice cream. It went straight into my mouth.
Because that's what you
do when someone gives you a syringe of chocolate.
I have a whole case of syringes downstairs,
That's for your other habit. We don't talk about that.
That's not what I meant.
We don't talk about Steph's syringe habit on the show.
No, but I buy a bunch of them like to use for
we
little
had the little dropper things
at
the last event that we did together, and that was cool.
I know I bought way too many, so I've got little things, and I'm gonna have to do other things just so I can use them up.
And so the other, I'm actually gonna save some of these treat things that I have to show you for when we do some treat type episodes, because there's some pretty cool treats they have in Australia. But you're just gonna have to listen again to hear about them.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds like a 2019 preview.
Right?
Right.
So, I drank a lot of sparkling.
Okay. Yes, we heard.
I might have mentioned I drank a lot of sparkling when I was there.
Okay.
But the other thing, I love cocktails. And I've mentioned on previous shows that I didn't drink a lot of cocktails when I lived in Brisbane because they are $18 a cocktail.
Wow.
$16 to $18.
See,
typically.
and I didn't drink a lot when I was there either, but I'm really getting more into cocktails lately, so yeah, that would break me.
But the cocktails you drink there, so let's take a look at this one. This is like a cucumber, I don't even know what it was. It was just so amazing. It was like a cucumber mojito type thing.
Okay.
With mint and cucumber. It was refreshing. But like, there's like a whole cucumber in this thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, and that's what the drinks. And then we're talking like homemade simple syrups or infused syrups.
Yep.
Like cocktails are really an art.
They are
in Queensland especially, but quite frankly, anywhere I went in Australia, that's what we saw. Now that by the same token, we went to the Surf Life Saving Club. Was it that one? No, it was a bar at South Bank, and they had on tap espresso martinis. So,
because they sell that many of them that they have to have like.
So as I actually wish it wasn't so. I should almost look at the time in Australia, because my girlfriend Sam and I spent the second week together, and we had multiple espresso martinis, and yeah, the espresso martini that came out of the tap, not the same as the espresso martini we're going to have now.
Okay.
But I did find that all the drinks that everywhere I went, they did an espresso martini.
Yep.
Very simple, and I've had really crappy espresso martinis, and I've had really good ones. So I found a recipe that kind of sounded like the stuff that I wanted to put together.
Yep.
So I'm going to show you how to make an espresso martini. So I filled my shaker with half with ice.
I filled the shaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Steph filled the shaker.
She filled it the first time, but it all melted. So we had to do it
I talked a lot, so it all melted.
Okay.
So maybe I'll do it, I guess, over here, because our guests will be able to see it.
No, that's fine.
So for our folks that are listening, I've got a half shaker of ice, and then let's do we're going to do our vodka first. We've got our Grey Goose, and the recipe's on the website, but I believe it was 30 milliliters of vodka.
Because you're going in milliliters.
Oh, crap.
Ounces.
Yeah. Ounces. 1 ounce of vodka, 1 ounce of Kahlua or any coffee espresso. There's a coffee espresso kind of one in Australia.
Yeah, well, just we would kind of rated my little.
Yeah, I went to the
Some people have a liquor cabinet. I have a liquor room.
That's why we're friends.
I have a room. Okay.
And so we've got just some French press coffee. You can do it with espresso. You want it to be cold, because if you do hot, then it's going to melt the ice and it's going to water down your drink.
So we made it earlier.
And the other thing about it is we're actually using Merlot coffee, which I picked up from...
Not Merlot like the wine Merlot.
No, Merlo, which I think you can see it on the video. You can see it in the front here. But Merlot, I'll put a link in it. Merlot's a chain of coffee shops in Australia. Coffee, when you go to Australia, is all espresso based. And quite frankly, Starbucks is not the thing Like, you talk about Starbucks in Australia, like, oh, darling, no, you can't, you don't drink that burnt stuff. It's like...
They're very serious about coffee there.
Very serious about coffee. When I came back, we had to buy an espresso machine because I had started drinking coffee when I was there because I don't like drip coffee. I don't like percolated coffee. But a good espresso that's done with a good bean, so
yeah, see, that's the whole thing. I would say I'm not a coffee snob, but I guess I am in a way. Have I mentioned that I don't like Tim Hortons on the show?
I can't stand Tim Hortons. I do not drink Tim Hortons.
We are bad Canadians. Yeah. But it's one of those things that I just never, I don't know, I just never developed a taste for it.
If I want burnt ash, I'll go look at an ashtray somewhere.
Oh my God. It's just like, I have good coffee and I don't mind. And when I'm traveling, I bring home, like I have coffee here from Puerto Rico, from Cuba, from Dominican, from Jamaica. Like I have a whole selection of them. Thing. If there's some place that's really known for their coffee, I bring it home with me. And so I have it in my freezer to store it, and then I just defrost a little bit at a time kind of thing as I need it.
That's what I literally brought. I took the Merlot coffee out of our freezer. We've got Hawaiian Kona bread.
Yeah, Kona, yep.
I forget what our third was. Mexican. But yeah, so anyways, let's give this one a go.
It is getting a little frothy.
That's what I mean. It gets nice and frothy. That's what you want.
Because when I saw, I was thinking about the color of it, and I was thinking, I'm hoping it's not going to too much cream. My shakers are for show.
Yeah, clearly. It's like dripping everywhere.
Is this going to keep me up?
Probably.
Fantastic. It's okay. I have nothing to do tomorrow but editing.
And then we're going to garnish it.
Oh, we're actually going to put a little...
put our little coffee beans
that's
on.
Cute.
I didn't bring the garnishes for the...
okay, so I'm taking a picture of it.
Because I didn't have...
picture of her.
There we go. There's our espresso martinis. But it's great because when you're drinking, you start out your night with your espresso martinis because when you're old like I am, it's hard to stay up late.
That's very pretty. You'll actually you'll see in the photo in the show notes, you'll actually see the mixer recording in the background.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay.
Oh, cheers. You know what? I don't think this is going to sound awful considering how much I've drank in my life.
Never had
and I love coffee. I've never had an espresso martini.
Oh, that's good. You're going to like that.
It is actually good.
Good coffee.
Yeah.
Good vodka. Coffee liqueur.
Yeah.
Made a nice drink.
But you know why? I think it's because I was always worried about it being sweet. Because I drink my coffee black.
I noticed we didn't add any sweet. We added the Kahlua, so the Kahlua gave us some sweet because it's a liqueur.
Yeah.
But that's it. So it's nice and light.
Yeah.
But it's got, because we're using a nicer, like imagine if we did this with an espresso as opposed to just like we did a French press. But if we did an espresso, you'd have all the oils of the crema kind of going on too, right?
So, anyways, you know what I'm thinking, eh?
What are you thinking?
Breakfast.
Right.
It's awful, eh?
Breakfast
tomorrow
drinks.
morning. So tomorrow morning, I will be editing this episode. Drinking the espresso martini.
That's really good. So yeah, that is
Norm's
much
out of
better
town,
than the one
so
you got.
who's gonna tell, really?
Well, as I laughed, so Mark dropped me off, and he's like, "So what time am I coming to get you?" And I said, "Well, I'm sure I'll be done before you have to drop Puppy off to dance class." Well, he's gonna have to leave shortly to drop Puppy off to dance class. But this is what happens when Steph and I drink, and Norm's out of town.
It's usually like Norm's. Let's do this.
Norm's out of town. Where are we going?
And it's not that we don't like having him around.
Not at all, actually. But we're busy with our families, and
it is, and it's one of those things that I find that ever since we switched to video, do you notice that less and less he's participating in our shows?
Yeah, he would
and
not
it's not the fact that it's not the fact that he's shy.
He hosted a show.
I know he's had his own television show, but it's not because I don't know if it's. I think it's just he's nervous about being a part of it. And again, yes, we're drinking and being silly and stuff, right?
I was thinking maybe we should have like some sort of disclaimer on our podcast.
We should have like a bonus episode. We should do like one of those membership versions at some point where you get to see videos and things like that are not part of it, like we'll do
you mean those outtakes that you share on social media of me when you say, "Oh no, that's not going to go on social media."
No, I don't always.
Then she sends me a picture. Surprise! I want to put this one up. Okay.
Well, we can do some that, like, you have to be part of the membership to go and see, like, when Drunk Norm shows up for the episode. Wouldn't that be so much fun?
That would be fun.
Because you didn't
coming for you, Norm.
Before we used to videotape this show, he used to come downstairs because his office was upstairs from our studio.
Come
So he used to
have a
come
drink with us.
downstairs, and sometimes he was actually there for the whole episode, and you would never know. He just
Drinking
sat
in the
there
corner.
drinking in the corner.
Well, he could like sit beside
Because he knew
beside the camera.
whatever wine that we were featuring or whatever, right?
The last episode we stole his
He knows about the port now. But
She told him the next day.
I just thought it was funny. And then what the sad thing is, I showed up. I stopped in at the studio because I still have all my dishes and glasses and stuff there. And I stopped in because I had a private class, and I went and picked up. I was going through the cupboards to pick up, like, okay, do I need a couple little dishes? I need little glasses, and I was going through, and there was a bottle of a Chilean Syrah that's been very hard to find that was sitting on the counter, and I just did this, like, my head whipped around like Medusa.
Where did that come from?
And I looked at him and I went, and he goes, you can
Was
bring.
he hiding it?
He goes, can you bring, no, it was sitting on the counter. He goes, can you bring it back? You can bring it back home. I went, oh, okay. I said, are you getting me back for the port thing?
So the other experience I had when I was in Brisbane when it came to drinking was we went to oh my goodness, Oktoberfest. What country is that?
Germany.
Germany? Perfect. So we went to a restaurant. It was like all sausage and like Oktoberfest themes. It must be Germany. It was like a sausage market, beer market kind of place.
Sausage market.
That's a different thing here. What are you doing to me today?
No, it's just because I laugh because I edited all the episodes, right? So I had to sit there and watch over and over again, but with the entire episode was the last one you kept saying, that's what she said. So it's my turn to throw it back to you.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Sausage market. That's righteous. Okay.
Okay, so my girlfriend Rachel wanted to go back to this sausage market, this restaurant that was, and we literally, our dinner, like I didn't put that picture in here, is literally a platter with like sausage
Bangers and
on
mash.
it. It's like as like masculine, like my husband, give him sausage on a platter and he's happy.
Yep.
So we did these shots, and it's called Goldwasser.
It almost sounds like Goldschlager. Sounds similar to it.
And it's got gold flecks in it.
Yeah, okay.
I wish I could describe it, because Goldschlager, I find the flecks are all sitting on the bottom. With the Goldwasser, they're literally suspended, like it's thicker almost.
Ooh,
They're
syrup-like.
suspended in it.
Is it more like
but
a
it's
liqueur?
not that sweet. It is a liqueur. I think it's like a vodka-based kind of a liqueur, like most of them are.
Yep.
But when we did this shot, they called it like a winter shot. And it literally is like cooling in your mouth. Like it's not pepperminty. It's not cinnamony.
Because Goldschlager is kind of like that, right?
Yeah, cinnamon, like Goldschlager cinnamon, really. But this is like refreshing and cold. So as we're sitting here, I'm watching Rory climb all over your fridge.
No, and that's okay. I just said it wouldn't take long.
She's exploring.
Yeah.
She's
probably
comfortable.
she's gonna nest herself when she gets the blanket and the pillow. Yes, the
she'll
fur.
be in heaven.
She found the fur.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So the Goldwasser was like, it was like refreshing and light, and like sometimes you do it heavy and it's a high concentration alcohol. But like a super clean finish. Like it was
nice.
like I could have done way too many of those shots and gotten
And you didn't bring
really
me any
messy.
of that?
I tried. Dude,
You didn't have
I
a suitcase for all the
tried
potato
to
chips.
find the Goldwasser. So our friend in the wheelchairs is also our drinking buddy.
Yeah.
And Sarah, I was like, I couldn't friggin' find it. I could not find it. So it's one of those things that I'm gonna need to like find somewhere online, and like whatever country it is, make a friend and have them send it to me, because it was a really, really nice shot. Again, I think if you did too many, it would get messy really, really quickly. But it was just really cool. So we had that, and we had our sausage, and it was a cool kind of balance together. There's my cucumber again. There's my Emily Boot Cuvée. So high tea. I mean, Australia is, we're both, Canada and Australia are part of the Commonwealth. So we're still under the sovereign of the Queen. But Australia's not as influenced by the US as Canada is. So you see a lot more very British kind of influence.
I did see a lot of that when I was there.
Very much so. From the language, like my girlfriend said, we had so much fun because she says like, kitten, and like very, like she pronounces her T's where I'm like kitten, kind of thing. And like where we say Toronto, she'd say Toronto.
Oh, we have Toronto.
Right?
Or T-dot.
What was I wish I could think of what we were laughing so hard about. There was a word we were trying to say. It was like bitter or something, water or something. And she's like, bitter? And I'm like, bitter. So, but her American accent, so she's like, bitter?
Be like butter?
Butter?
Oh, yeah.
Butter?
There's like butter.
Yeah, I put butter on my bread.
Smooth like butter.
So where was I going with the whole accenty thing?
England,
the English. So high tea is a huge thing. So on my birthday, it was no question. I had two really lovely girlfriends, Anne and Judy, who I met scrapbooking, who took me out for high tea for my birthday. That's where we went to the Four Seasons. And I look forward to sharing more details of that in our high tea show because it was pretty fun. Of course, we had our bubbles at that one as well, too. But the cool thing about Australia, like the house bubbles, were good.
Oh, that's good.
Because the house red is always shit. You don't want the house red. The house white is passable.
And that's really strange because I've always tried to tell people that maybe it's an Australia thing, but I know here in Canada, I usually suggest to people that if a restaurant served a bad house wine, they wouldn't be getting a lot of wine orders. So they usually make a house wine that is palatable enough. Like it's not going to be top of the line, but at least their house wine is going to be good enough to drink because they serve a lot of it, right? And if it was crappy, nobody would have it.
I think realistically, quite frankly, I've learned more and more and more when I go to restaurants, I'm like, just give me a bottle.
Yeah.
I've just gotten, it's Steph's fault. I used to be uncouth and now I'm very, cultured when it comes to wine.
And now you could just get the license. Some of the resturants have the licenses. You just take the rest of the bottle home if you don't finish it.
Yeah, we were
and it's probably cheaper, right, to get the bottle sometimes.
So I drink a lot of house bubbles. But the other thing that I didn't realize is gin has had a huge uptake since I've been away. I mean, same as we're seeing a lot more gin in Canada than we've ever seen.
Overseas, the same thing.
Australian gin is incredible. Like I brought that ink gin home. They have a really cool one called Four Pillars.
Yep.
Which is available in is it the SAC in Quebec?
SAQ.
SAQ, SAC. SAC.
Well, it's just like you don't say Lickbo.
I do not say Lickbo.
I say Lickbo.
Okay, but you are from the valley, right?
Oh, okay. How'd you knock that? Yeah, I see Lickbo.
So Four Pillars reminded me a lot, actually, of our crosscut, like the similar feel to where they were. But I tried desperately to get a bottle of Four Pillars for us to have from the SAQ because my husband was in Montreal, but he didn't have a vehicle and it was like 18 kilometers away.
Well, you know what? Norm's over there right now.
Is he in Montreal?
He's in Gatineau. No, he's closer to SAQ.
Montreal's far away. It was only in Montreal. There were 4 bottles 18 kilometers away from the airport.
Okay, so what am I
Montreal.
texting him?
We want him. I can actually send him a link.
Okay.
We're just going to interrupt the show.
So Cynthia is looking for...
But Gatineau was far away, I think.
Oh, but he's got a guy. He goes to Ottawa once a month, right?
He's got a guy.
He's looking for a gin at the SAQ. And does it matter? Is there only one gin?
There's 4 bottles in Quebec.
Okay, SAQ called Four Pillars. Can you get your guy? Your guy to get it for her/us. Yeah. It's her/us. So now that you're all watching us, we're actually texting Norm because he's actually in Quebec right now. So
yeah, I've got a girlfriend in Gatineau, but I remember looking, it was like 180 kilometers or something. I'm like, hey, I can't ask her to go and get it for me. But yeah, so they have the 4 pillars. So why I brought it up is when I was went to a pub with my girlfriend for dinner, they had a Bloody Shiraz gin.
Ooh, fun. So that's obviously made.
They would have used some Shiraz grapes of some sort.
Yes. So actually what they're doing is they're using, so when they're making the wine, like there's all the stuff left over, right? Mm-hmm. The must, right? So you get the stems and the seeds and the skins and everything else. So that's what's giving it a little bit of a color. So in Victoria in BC, there was, I forget the name of the winery, but they make Vin Gin, which I have downstairs. So they do the same thing. So they're a winery who took all of the all the stuff left over from the wine production or their excess, and they use that to distill gin as well.
So the next time we do a BC show, we're gonna make her bring out her BC Vin Gin.
My Vin Gin.
It was really good. So I had it with orange peel and a tonic, and it was really, really good. We also, one that we drank a lot of there that I looked for here, and I think we have it is, name me some popular gins. We've got oh my goodness, Cynthia.
Hendrix, Bombay,
Is it Bombay?
Tanqueray.
Tanqueray has an orange gin.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we don't get here that they have.
But I think we do. I think I did. I'm gonna like.
Oh, orange jam would be good.
Our handy dandy LCBO app, which don't leave home without it. I'm pretty sure.
Mine froze on me the other day.
Oh, that's.
I was in mourning. It was, and I was in the LCBO, and I was trying to bring up my favorites list.
Well, that's what you have to do when you're at the LCBO, because you can't find anything. You have to check on your app to see if it's in stock.
And then they say, I don't think we have it, and I say, no.
The app says it's in stock.
The app says you have 24 bottles.
Yes.
I know it's here. Yeah.
It's actually so Tanqueray, Flor de Sevilla. There are 10.
That's a Seville orange.
Yeah, there are 10 at our local LCBO. So I know where Steph's going tomorrow. Honest to God, it was so
I didn't want to
good.
leave the house. I didn't want to leave the house till Tuesday. It's winter in Canada, and I don't go anywhere.
I have to leave the house tomorrow, so I'm gonna pick up a bottle.
Thank you! Yay!
Yeah.
Because I actually organized myself because I knew I had a lot of editing to do before I leave next week. So I went to get groceries today. I got the kind of supplies I needed. Norm's away for the next couple of days. We have a committee meeting here.
So what you're saying is you don't want to go to Puppy's
I am not leaving the
improv show tomorrow?
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
They're making me feel guilty. I was seriously like locking myself in the house until I have to go to the house on Tuesday.
I'm jealous.
Just because I got so much stuff to do. Like I'm like mid-Christmas decoration, and I said I had a really busy week with private classes and stuff. So
you've had a very busy week.
Yeah. So I just
had a Cynthia week.
I just finished my last class last night. So now it's like all catch-up stuff. So
let me just point out there's no leftovers from last night's class here. Just pointing that out.
Oh, it was so good though.
And I saw the pictures.
No, they kept the leftovers for the group, but
yeah. So my girlfriend Sam, who I've shouted out many times. So I have to shout out to my girlfriend Sam McMillan. She is like, I call her sunshine. She is literally sunshine in someone's life.
That's great.
And it's amazing how we only lived there for 3 years, and we have formed this amazing lifelong sisterhood.
Yep.
And when I went over there, and this is again a Queenslander, but Sam's a really special lady. And when I was booking my trip, my husband's company was flying him over for a conference anyway, so they were paying his flight, his accommodation, all this kind of thing. And so, I messaged a few girlfriends. I'm like, I'm coming. This is the weeks we're looking at. I want to make sure we get together. And Sam's like, well, you're staying at my house. And Mark's like, well, I don't want to put her out. And Sam has a beautiful home in Paddington. I was very comfortable. It was like my home. Like we were close friends, so it was home to be there. And Sam was like, no, you're staying at my place. I'm like, well, Mark's kind of weird about it. She's like, let me put it to you this way. If I was freaking coming to Canada, I would have no guilt about staying at your house. She probably wouldn't want to stay at my house because it's a dump.
No, it's not a dump.
It's a beautiful home that looks like a hoarder. But Sam was like, don't be ridiculous. And of course, I would want her to stay with me and all that kind of thing. So what a beautiful like we had not seen each other. She came, we had a weekend in Vegas about 6 years ago was the last time we'd seen each other. And we talk on Facebook and FaceTime once in a while. But to reconnect in such a beautiful way, like it was amazing. So shout out to Sam, because half the stuff that we saw was because she also went along on my adventures with me. So Rachel, my girlfriend, you'll hear in the bonus feature crew take, and Sam, because they put us up, and it basically freed up some funds to be able to do some of the stuff that I did.
Oh, nice.
So the orange gin became our like regular after we'd come home from.
Now I'm excited.
From work. So another thing that in our house is really big when it comes to drinks, which is not, because my husband's not a big drinker. He loves Bundaberg rum.
Oh, so I like rum too.
Bundaberg again is a suburb in Australia, and I actually think we have some Bundaberg rum. So if you like rum, I'll have to make sure you get some.
Oh,
he wouldn't bring another bottle home for some reason this time, but we have a half.
I went on a little rum thing. I was gonna say it's not like a last month thing, like last week, where I used to. Sometimes my default is like if I'm not having wine in the evening and I've been working all day and I just want like to sip on something before I go to bed. Sometimes I'll do Grand Marnier. Right, and I'll occasionally I've been doing some bourbon, but is it last week I was just rum. I don't know why, like I just went into this rum thing.
I love a mojito. Like I love a mojito, like the freshness of it.
Yeah.
I texted Steph earlier this week because I was watching a TV show, and they had this like watermelon mojito looking drink. I went, oh my god, I want a watermelon mojito right now. It's like minus bazillion degrees with like 10 feet of snow outside, and I'm like, I really don't want one because it's kind of cold. But
and I was trying to think of how we can kind of work it into the Christmas
episode. There was no way to work it into
Christmas. But it's red.
Yeah, I know. No, we will feature it at some point because it looked incredible. Okay, so further into the boozy thing,
Yeah.
This was a setup I really wanted to share with you, Steph, and with some of our our industry folks out there. This was at a bar on the beach, and it was literally they had like a chalkboard price tag on all of their spirits with the cost for the spirit.
Oh, okay.
Like when I think about it, so when I go in and drink tequila, and even when I drink vodka now and gin, I don't tend to go with whatever the house kind of base one is. I want something like a step up or a little bit more. But sometimes, I'm sorry, bar owners and restaurant owners, sometimes you get fleeced on some of those premium brands, right? So sometimes I want to check. I'm not paying $23 for a shot of Patron. But they had...
Because there's better tequilas than Patron? Okay.
Well, there's that too.
Again,
there's that too. But that's the reality, right? When we look at like the premium in a restaurant is Patron.
Yep.
So this bar had these prices. So not only for your patrons, but also your staff. Like when you've got, 8 different whiskeys or 6 different tequilas or whatever it is, you don't always know. You're forever checking because it's hard to... So what a cool way for the staff to know what they were doing and for customers to be comfortable with whatever they're ordering. So I thought this was really cool.
It was very cool.
It's a crappy picture because I had a whole lot of sun behind it, but I thought it was a really cool thing to share. So here's the other thing. So Canadian Club. When's the last time you bought a bottle of Canadian Club?
Never. I don't have. I do not have one. Sorry, I do not have one in my liquor room.
Just so we're clear, we do buy Crown Royals. We do buy Canadian whiskey sometimes.
Oh no, we do. And what's the other one? What's the other one? There's
Wisers.
We've had some Wisers. I'm just trying to think because we do have some Canadian whiskeys. I do have Crown Royal downstairs or whatever. But
so I'm not knocking Canadian Club. No, but it's just not. Canadians don't drink Canadian Club.
No.
You go to Australia, CC and dry is a drink.
Wow.
It'd be like us drinking gin and tonic.
Yep.
And it's not even like they drink CC and dry. We'll just drink a gin and tonic or a rye and whatever. So much so that at this Surf Life Saving Club in Alexandria Heads, they have it on tap. So this is, where are we?
So it's like already pre-blended, ready to go?
Pre-blended, ready to go. Mark got that out of like...
That's cool.
Rye and ginger. And they don't even drink ginger ale there. It's ginger beer.
And that would be one of Norm's. So it is ginger ale though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Norm loves a rye and ginger. That used to be his thing before I told him he's not allowed to have any more rye.
Does he get mean? They all get mean.
They do not get, they're not pleasant. Men are not pleasant on rye whiskey, but that's a whole other, that's a whole other show.
This is like a 4-hour show at this point. But so I thought it was really CC and Club and so CC and dry everywhere, including like if you go into like the mixed coolers, like we can get like mojitos and all that kind of stuff. Well, you can get a CC and dry.
I find that fascinating because you keep talking about like this is on tap and that's on tap. So it seems to be a thing that, right? If it's something is popular,
this is more like this did not exist when we lived there 7 or 8 years ago, but are seeing more and more of it because at the one place it was margaritas and espresso martinis, and they were both crap. And the CC and dry at this one, and I thought it was really interesting, because really, I mean, at the end of the day, you can put anything through a tap. It's just putting the bubbles in it and the syrup on the other side. Yeah. Right. So, it was really cool. So, and these were the cheap versions. So, like my espresso martini and my margarita that came out of the tap were like $8 compared to my $18. But I mean, I'll pay the extra $10 to have a good drink. But that's
thank you. Yeah.
Something else that was really cool that I found at Alexandra Heads, but is throughout Queensland. I didn't realize there is actually a local brewery that brews a beer specifically to raise money for the life-saving clubs.
Oh, I love that.
So I took a photo of this, and you can see this here, supporting Surf Life Saving. So again, our lifeguards, our surf lifesavers are all volunteer. It's a great training program for young kids to learn how to swim. If we had lived there longer, I probably would have put my kids through it. And so they literally have a beer, and the red and gold is the same color as all the flags and all the uniforms and stuff they wear. And what a cool, in fact, it wasn't just this one. They had like a whole line that supported Surf Life Saving Clubs. So for all of you like microbreweries and that out there,
I really like the charitable.
What a cool initiative, like this, like social.
Well, that's one of those things about like charitable things. And that was one of the, when I was in Hunter Valley, actually, one of the wineries, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. I'll probably find it like a week later and I'll tweet it out. But again, one of the wineries, they would produce these piccolo size, like the smaller little single serves. Mm-hmm. They don't sell them to the public. Those are made only for the Meals on Wheels program. So the Meals on Wheels, if you happen to be a recipient of a Meals on Wheels dinners, you get offered free bottle of wine from this winery, just like enough just for your glass for your dinner. Is that
trying to decide how I feel about that?
So he produces them. He buys the bottles. So it's free.
We talked about this before.
Yeah, it's free. And he said, because they just started establishing tasting fees. They didn't have tasting fees for the longest time. So it's new. And they were kind of feeling guilty of charging, like it was something stupid like $5 for the tasting fee, right? So they took that $5 and they put it in a fund. And that money goes towards buying the little bottles and everything else. And he bottles specifically, and he donates them all to Meals on Wheels.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of happy people in Hunter Valley right now.
No kidding. No kidding.
I thought that was a very kind of cool idea.
It's
like
an interesting initiative.
Yeah.
Okay, so like
That's
I'm a fan
creative.
of wine with meal, but I just never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now everyone else who knows somebody who needs Meals on Wheels is probably going to say, "Did you get your wine?"
Right.
You should ask for wine.
Okay, food wise, really quick, I want to talk about shopping for food in Australia. So in Canada, Coles is a bookstore.
Yep.
In Australia, Coles is your grocery store. So Coles would be like our real Canadian superstore.
Okay.
And back in the day, with Woolworths, the department store here in Canada, in Australia, Woolworths is also a grocery store. It's like your Metro.
Okay.
Kind of thing to compare. So I have just a few photos of some fun grocery things that I noticed when it's one of those things I took for granted when I lived in Australia. And then I came back here and I was like, yeah, that's not a thing here. So this pancake thing, it's literally you add your water or your milk and you shake it, and it's like instant pancakes for $1.50. It is so fun for the kids. Okay, so look.
I know. Okay, for the kids. Okay,
pancakes are really easy to make.
If you're just listening to this on the podcast, I'm already making a face.
She's gagging. Yeah. So let me be clear. At home, we actually make all of our pancakes from scratch because it's not really a difficult one to make, but super fun for the kids to get these shakers. And I look at it and I see, like, from an environmental standpoint, it's like all that packaging.
Because
super fun
that's half
and quick
empty
and convenient. Because you dump in, there's like a line on it to show you where your liquid goes. You shake it up and the kids can pour it because it's easy to pour onto the pan. So it's a super fun way to make breakfast with the kids.
Yep.
That's the cool thing about this.
I think it's a very cool idea. We're not big pancake eaters, but for $1.50,
$1.50, you're feeding the kids breakfast with, because you can do water, you don't have to do milk in it. And
that would be a great idea for breakfast clubs.
Very much so.
Yeah. I'm just all about the ideas today.
You are just full of them. Like, I mean, from this podcast, we're going to have so much freaking work to do. It's not even funny.
Because we have nothing better to do. Yeah.
Are you going to do more wine? Well, I noticed you're drinking.
Yeah, because, that was, that espresso martini was really good, but
I'll keep her up all night if I keep going on the
I got to get up in the morning to do some editing before the show airs.
Oh, I did a too big pour again. Sorry. So here's the thing, too. So when I moved to Australia, so before I met Stephanie and before I moved to Australia, I didn't know a lot about wine at all. And I drank cocktails and, blue curacao probably at that point. My wine glasses were half this size and we always filled our wine glass.
Like Cougar Town.
Yeah. So then I went to Australia and I'd get a pour like this. I'm like, where's the rest of my wine? Now I get it for breathing and aerating and all that kind of thing.
The rest of the bottle's not going anywhere.
I know, but I feel like it's going somewhere.
No.
So here's something else. This is really fun. So I love seafood. I hated seafood till I moved to Australia. And then I tasted real seafood.
Yes.
Fresh seafood caught, never frozen, not trucked thousands of kilometers to kind of get it to me. My favorite seafood is scallops. Mm-hmm. Didn't occur to me that scallops were not local to Australia so much.
Okay.
So prawns, we eat a lot of prawns when we live there. And prawns are like shrimp, but like on drugs. They're like massive.
Yep.
Very meaty, yummy tasting. Mm-hmm. Lobster, you can get lobster there. So we're gonna do a seafood feast. And I said to my husband, I want, get a couple lobsters, get some prawns, and get some scallops. So we looked, they didn't have any in the fresh cabinet where we were originally shopping. And I happened to look in the freezer and they had scallops. And I was like, oh, scallops. And they were big and beautiful. And I looked, they're scallops from Canada, first of all, which made me giggle.
Okay, so
we're flying seafood into Australia.
PEI or Nova Scotia? Yeah.
$85 for a 1 kilogram bag. And let me just clarify, it was like 6 scallops. So I messaged my girlfriend, forget this, no scallops coming. I'm going to go back to Canada and get my scallops. So I thought it was pretty funny that when I go to a place that's like so close to the ocean and I can't get my scallops because they're $85 for a kilogram. They were frozen and shipped across the world.
You know what? At $85 for the bag, you know what? At $85 for the bag, they're probably sitting in that freezer for a very long time, really.
Yeah, no, we had prawns and they were fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, I'll come back to this in a second. So other thing in the grocery store, did we lose the dog? Rory.
No.
She might have just gone towards
No, she's here.
Okay. Okay, so another thing when you're grocery shopping in Australia, and one thing that I really missed when I came back here is lamb. So this picture that I'm showing you,
lamb all the time.
This is the lamb section.
That's awesome.
You've got ground lamb, you've got, like chunks for lamb stew, you've got lamb chops, you name it, lamb is everywhere. And I miss that being here. We've talked about this in the show previously, where we get these little tiny lamb chops. That's all the lamb we can get here. Grow the lambs a little bit bigger so I can have a hunk of meat. So that was, and it's reasonably priced as well too. It's not like crazy, super expensive. So lamb is super popular. So that you see all over the grocery store. So sausages. So we go to, when I think about when we do barbecues for like fundraisers and stuff, we see hot dogs and hamburgers typically are what we'd see. In Australia, especially Queensland, I don't know about the rest of but sausage on bread.
Okay.
It's literally a slice of white bread.
Yes.
With these skinny sausages. And they're beef sausages, kind of like a breakfast sausage.
Okay.
But not as greasy.
Oh,
because I've tried to find an alternative here and I've never found it.
So it's not like a hot dog?
No, not at all like a hot dog. And quite frankly, you don't see a lot of hot dogs there at all. They're like American hot dogs when we talk about hot dogs. But this sausage on bread, and you look at it like how many, there's 24 sausages for $8. They're like super cheap, and that's why they use them for fundraisers. And I laughed when I got there because typically you go, two main places we'd go for the, well, three I guess. We'd have sausage sizzles, is what the fundraiser's called. Sausage sizzle at the school. Or a sausage sizzle at Bunnings, which is like Home Depot.
Okay.
Bunnings is the big kind of home renovation, and so they have them on Sundays. They usually a fundraiser to collect money for local charities, and the rugby. So here we have hockey and baseball, and a little bit of football. There they have rugby and cricket. So my son played rugby, and every Saturday we'd have a sausage sizzle at the local rugby pitch.
It's hard to say.
It is sausage sizzle.
Yeah.
You're not going to try it, are you?
No, I can say sausage sizzle, but I'm just saying to say that on an ongoing basis when you're drinking.
And the sausage sizzle is usually accompanied by wine and beer. Just put it out there.
I would just call it a sizzle.
Yeah,
do they do that?
Sizzle. Oh no, sausage sizzle. Oh. Yeah.
See, I would already shorten.
But they're professionals over there, so.
Exactly.
Saying sausage sizzle after a bottle of wine is fine. So I thought that was kind of a cool, kind of a different tradition, and I missed that. And at like one of my last days, Sam happened to make sausages. And so she put one on a piece of bread with fountain barbecue sauce for me so I could have my sausage sizzle. Because it would have been really weird for me to go and creep some random rugby Saturday morning to get my sausage. So the funny thing is, the one that I've kind of saved for last is probably my most profound experience going to Australia, which is...
That's like me and the lions.
Right?
Or the lions in South Africa.
Which is the animals. And I'll never forget the first time I touched a kangaroo. Was our first year, probably our first month being in Australia. We went to Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary. So it's a beautiful conservation area in Fig Tree Pocket, which is a suburb of Brisbane. They do amazing work with repopulating koalas and saving injured animals. And they've got like all of the Australian animals you can think of. I'll never forget, we took the kids in spring once. All of the animals are on the same cycle of spring things start happening.
Babies.
I have never seen so many animals procreate in the same day in my life.
Oh my God. Oh no.
I'm not kidding.
That's a hashtag humping. That's awesome.
I am not kidding.
First thing I think of are babies, and I'm like, oh yeah, wait a minute, they have to make the
Before
babies.
the babies. They were making babies this trip. I'm not even kidding. We had kangaroos on top of kangaroos. We had koalas. It is not a pleasant experience.
Really? They're so cute though.
Okay, so we'll see some video in a second.
No,
of
I don't
want
to. You have a video of.
Oh, not of that. God, I don't know.
Okay.
Of course. No. Okay, I have animal porn is where I draw the line. No. This was when we lived there. And I brought the kids, and it was like this one. So we were in the baby section is my favorite. And most of the video and pictures I took of the koalas was in the baby section because they're just so freaking cute. And so babies and mamas. We got there just after they were all born as opposed to when they were being made. But so koala. I was watching this one koala chasing another one, and the one that's being chased was screaming. Like, I'm talking screaming. And then when the chaser got on them, it was so violent. And I'm like, where the hell are all the like conservationists and stuff? Like, this animal is being attacked. And then I saw what was happening and realized that this was not attacking.
Really?
It was intense, dude. I like felt like I needed to give her therapy.
Like koala rough sex?
Hardcore, dude.
No.
Hardcore.
They're not so cute anymore in my head.
I felt like I needed to. They are vicious.
You need to shower after.
No, not at all. I needed to like call her some therapist help. Like, she needed to go to a hospital and get a kit. Like,
that's not cool.
It was really awful. So, but we have to remember that koalas are actually really vicious creatures.
I know. I keep hearing that. That's one of those.
They really are. Like, so when we, you see, those really cute, and I'll dig one up for you to have in our show notes stuff, but in our gallery of my kids with koalas. And when you see these cute pictures of people hugging koalas, because that's what they call it, the reality is there is a conservation person here. So the photo's happening here, and the conservation person is here. And at one point, and they get them really doped up on eucalyptus first, so they're full and they're sleepy.
Okay.
And one time, one of them was like nibbling on my daughter's ear, and my daughter's like, "Oh, it tickles! He's nibbling my ear." Okay. And they pull, like, they're called drop bears because they follow to the trees because they're so drunk on eucalyptus, but they're also really vicious. Like, they will eat, they will take you down.
Because we had when I was there, part of one of the conference events that we had for the portion of our trip. Because we were there for weeks, but we had a conference for like 5-6 days. Mm-hmm. And during that time, they had one of the social events, and they did bring a koala, like a baby in.
Wow.
That was in at one of the events, but it was, we could only be so distant, and it was all like sectioned off, right?
Okay, so when it comes to hugging a koala, I know they have it at Lone Pine, which is the conservation area we went to. I'm pretty sure they had it at Australia Zoo. And at the zoo across from the Sydney Opera House in Sydney.
I never get to go there.
I think it's just called the Sydney Zoo, but I don't think it's actually that. But the cool thing about kangaroos is that kangaroos can't be kept in captivity. Like, you don't go to a zoo and see a kangaroo in a cage because they actually die. Something about they get like anxiety or panic or whatever when they're enclosed, and they just keel over and die. So they have to be kept in open, enclosed areas. So the photos here, these are literally, you're in a big like pen, like a dog park, and you're like walking around with the kangaroos. So there's
because they all seem to be laying down.
Well, they're super chill. So think about this for a second. So you're at a conservation area. So these are animals that are used to being in the wild and having to forage and whatever else. There are like hundreds and thousands of tourists who go through these areas every day. These things are so overfed. My girlfriend Lily and I, when we were there,
it's just like when I'm overfed.
We were like trying to find a freaking kangaroo. I bought 2 bags of food. I'm like, to try and eat the food, and they were all full. It was like they had a bunch of school tours that day, a bunch of tourists, and we were like, seriously, like no one wants our food. But also, they're used to humans, right? Like, you would never be able to do this where I'm like literally like lying down.
So I'll have to include a video in this episode. So I have a video so Norm would go out. This was up in Hunter Valley. And I remember, like, he would go out for his walk/jog in the morning. And he was so amazed because Hunter Valley is like farmland. Mm-hmm. And it was, kangaroos were everywhere, wild. And he would always be kind of meeting up with them on the road. And that was his big thing. Like, he kept saying on the way there, it'll be a good trip if I get to see a kangaroo. And they were everywhere when we were there. And then, of course, we get down closer to Sydney, and then all of a sudden they were non-existent. Yeah. So he was showing you how close they are, but they're very timid. Mm-hmm. And he would even stop, and he's timid. The kangaroos are timid, so things just don't happen.
So I can't wait to show Norm the pictures of me lying down.
Oh yes, he hasn't seen them, so I'll have to show them to him when he gets back.
Don't you dare! I want to show him.
Yes, because he'll love that.
I want to show him. So I told my friends at work.
He loved and I did this exact. I want to put this video up against me with my little lion cub.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because I did it. I don't think I laid on the ground.
I said to my friends at work.
I was sitting on the ground.
I said to my friends at work, because I have somewhere, although
I know. I did lay down with one.
I lost a lot of photos from when we lived in Australia, and one of them was Caleb, my son, cuddling with a kangaroo on the ground, because they're that docile, because they deal with humans every day.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that one was asleep 90% of the time. And I said, I'm going to send you a picture of me lying down with a kangaroo. They're like, that's not going to happen, because I sure as hell wouldn't do that with a raccoon. Like, they're full of rabies and whatever else. Again, these are like well treated and well cared for.
Domesticated almost.
Exactly, right? So so now I've got videos of me lying down next to a kangaroo and stroking them. And I look at Rory on my lap. I mean, the one that I was stroking wasn't much bigger than Rory. And it was just like, oh, you're so sweet. Come snuggle me. But I mean, when you go to these conservation areas as well, like if you see one with a joey coming out of its belly, don't try to poke the joey.
No, it's mom and the bear.
You know, literally when these animals are born, both the kangaroos and the koalas, these marsupials, when the animal's born, it literally as a newborn kind of crawls up into that belly. It's such a cool, I haven't seen it live or anything, but it's such a cool kind of way that it works. Kind of like we've seen those videos where newborns, after they're born, like kind of work their way up to the breast for feeding. Yeah. That's basically what happens with these marsupials. They work their way out of where they come out of, and they pop into the pouch and finish gestation in there. It's kind of really cool. So I mean, you'd be like poking like a baby in their uterus. You just don't play with their babies. And I was so happy because they were also lazy. It was also middle of the afternoon, so it was probably hot for them. To get the video of them jumping across, because it is pretty cool to watch them jumping. And then the video that I have of the koalas, just so we're clear, in the 3 years I lived there, I never saw koalas move so fast in my life.
Oh, wow.
That's not a thing. Like, I actually sent the videos to my son. He's like, oh my God, they're running. Because the koalas eat eucalyptus and it gets them drunk. They sleep most of the time. And they move really slow typically. So I don't know if this was just an off day or if these mamas just hadn't eaten a lot, but they were literally zooming across. So these are really cool opportunities for kids to learn and people to learn about these amazing animals, and also a way to kind of preserve their population and stuff.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool. So that's a definite must visit. If you go to Brisbane, you have to go to Lone Pine because the experience is pretty cool. And that was I was like sobbing the first time. Oh my God, this is really happening, like you had with the lion.
Well, I mean, the lion wasn't crying. I went and spent the morning with the elephants by myself, with just Norm and I.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and it was the same elephant that's on the bottle of the, what's the African liqueur that has the elephant in the front? Amarula. It was that elephant.
Literally that
elephant. I can't remember his name. It's on the pictures.
Oh my God!
That I had posted. I'm gonna have to find that. But yes, that was the elephant, and he is so well trained.
I bet.
So because we were in this open field area, and somebody would call him, and he would actually run down. I have a video. He runs to me. Like he runs.
So cool.
It is the coolest thing. Like he's just like he's so excited because there's people and someone's calling him because he knows he's getting treats and stuff. Right?
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's like you call your dog to come.
That was one cool thing. Would be the Australia Zoo, because at the Australia Zoo, which is much more commercialized. So Lone Pine is a smaller conservation kind of zoo. Australia Zoo is this big commercialized, like it's like Disneyland at this point. And so it's funny because people are like, oh, did you go to Australia Zoo? I'm like, yeah, I did. It cost $1 bazillion, and I mean, glad I went, but. So commercialized, but they did have really but the tigers were one of my favorites because it was an amazing open exhibit, and they were obviously very comfortable and majestic and whatever. And the elephants were really cool as well too, the way they kind of.
And they are, and that's one of those things is that what I liked about South Africa. I feel like I'm detouring on Australia, but it was only because I liked the fact that the places that we went to, they were not zoos. Yeah. These were actually wide open
safaris.
Like they were these wide open places that people are there, and then there's trained people. So the lion conservation area, this was a particular area that was just meant to protect these particular lions. And then of course the lions would have babies, and then the babies were raised there, but they're raised to also be out in the wild. And then every once in a while they would bring them in, and they used to have you can actually volunteer. And I remember there was and that's the only reason we found out about this place is because one of the wives of the new CEO, her daughter was one of the volunteers. I guess she always wanted to do this. So it was one of those things that was added on as an optional experience for us on the way to the conference. But it was just hey, would you like to go and hang out with lions today? Okay. That was my first experience in South Africa.
That's so cool.
I mean, we just got off the plane, so I'm jet lagged, and I'm wearing stretchy pants, and I was right? And I'm wearing these big old sweatshirt, and
That's what travel's about. Just take advantage of the opportunities.
And everybody else is just sort of standing around. I'm like, oh my God, baby lions. And I said, okay to sit down, to be close to them? They said, yeah. But so I'm like sitting on the ground beside these teenagers. They had a nickname for them, which was kind of like basically they were badasses. But they were the size of me, and they're playing around and pawing, and their claws are catching on me. And it was very cool. And I had to learn it because I talked about tigers. So I think it's the Siberian, but one of them, you could never turn your back on them because they think it's fun to jump on your back with their claws. It's like they're playing, except and it's one of those things you can never turn your back on them. So so it was kind of a cool, so I learned a lot on that, but I was very impressed with how it was still very open and it felt like you were actually with them. They had a few caged areas depending on what animals were there, because they had a few others they were working, like the white lions are very endangered, so they had but I'm always impressed with these conservation areas. And I wish I would have known that those were there, because now Norm's going to be very jealous that there was a place where he can go and lay down with kangaroos. Oh, no. He'll be very upset.
Oh, no.
That's okay.
That's right. On our next trip.
Next trip.
Okay. Kangaroo.
Yes, I like kangaroo. I actually like kangaroo.
Have you had kangaroo?
Yeah, it's not as because I've tried so many different kinds of meats. It's nothing out of the ordinary. As long as you get the idea, just like any other animal. Oh, jerky. As long as you have any other animal, as long as you don't picture how cute they are, you can pretty much sample it.
I'm not kidding.
I'll have jerky.
Here's the kangaroo in the grocery store. I have some pictures of me petting the kangaroo. We would literally go to the market.
This is a good outtake. We trying to get back kangaroo.
Notice I did not take a bite before I started talking about the kangaroo, because I would never gotten the story out. We would literally go and pet the kangaroos at the conservation area.
This jerky is very gamey.
I like it. So it is a bit gamey. It's definitely like, I tried making spaghetti with roux mince, not good. But we used to make our kangaroo. We'd buy it by and of course, like, you can't do it every day here, but in Australia, and most people are pretty familiar with this if you live in Oz.
You can pass me a napkin or a plate.
Yes, I can.
I just realized if I want to put this down, I'm not putting it down anymore. It's okay.
We would marinate it with soy sauce and a few things, and then do it in the frying pan, just kind of pan fry it, and do it over like a salad, like an arugula salad with like Parmesan and pine nuts and kangaroo. I brought home kangaroo jerky because it's the only way I could possibly get kangaroo into Canada. But it is a little bit gamey. But it's not like moose. It's not like deer.
No, I just find it stronger. See, and I will, but I find this is stronger. Maybe it's because it's jerky and it's dried and it's condensed in flavor. Because I had kangaroo when I was there, like these little skewers and all kinds of stuff.
It's high in iron, low in fat. It's really good for you.
No, and I have no question on that. But it's just like after having the chocolate and the espresso martini and everything else, it was just like
so much.
What?
Now, my friends who lived there thought I was a horrible human being for eating kangaroo. Because, so for those folks who grew up in Canada in the 80s, we had the littlest hobo.
Oh, I love that.
Right? So for my friends in Queensland, eating kangaroo, it was like eating the littlest hobo, because they had Skippy the kangaroo.
Okay.
So they had a kids show, and it was a similar concept to what we had littlest hobo with Skippy the kangaroo. And I'm like, I will eat Skippy, I will fry Skippy, and I have a pair of Skippy boots.
And honestly, kangaroos there are almost like pests.
They're like raccoons here.
Yes, exactly.
They're like our raccoons.
So would I eat a raccoon if I knew where he was?
Right?
Where he bane.
Kangaroos that are raised for eating, they're not going on the side of the highway and shooting a kangaroo and feeding it to you. Like, these are farm raised like anything else would be. But high in iron, low in fat.
As opposed to pigeon and squab. So it's the same thing. So pigeons, squab is pigeon.
I've never had squab, but I've actually, you see a lot of squab in
on
British
menu.
cooking and in
yes.
Australia.
So when you call it squab, so again, just like a kangaroo is raised separately, right? There's some that are wild and there's some that are raised. But so same thing for squab is pigeon that is raised just
Interesting.
for. Yeah.
I just know they're littler birds. I never really gave much thought. I'm glad I didn't try it.
Yeah, you go overseas, you go in like the UK when you're traveling around. Yeah, it's squabs everywhere. Yeah.
Very British. I think the only thing I have left to talk about, two things. So driving.
Oh, yes, driving.
So we do cover this a bit in the outtake, but roundabouts are a big thing.
Yes.
And I actually took a video that I'll show you in a second of around us going through a couple of roundabouts. And the reason I did it is because I have one girlfriend who is terrified of roundabouts.
Really?
We drove to Collingwood and there's like 5 of them on the way and they're all empty. They're all big, empty roundabouts. And she freaked. Oh my God, it's a roundabout coming. And Canadians, specifically Ontarians, are like terrified of them because they don't know how to navigate them.
Yeah, just your GPS tells you take the second exit. So you take the second exit.
Here's the thing though too. So there's actually like when you enter the roundabout, you should have your right signal indicator on.
Yeah, see that's the one thing I'm not good about is
And then when you go to exit,
well,
you hit your
in
left to
Australia,
exit.
but in Australia because you're driving on the left side of the road as opposed to the right.
But either way, it's still the same thing because you enter it going the same way. Do you not? Yeah, we still enter
clockwise.
But there's still clockwise.
Yeah, because we still go. Yeah, I've never put my signal. We don't usually put the signal
because
on.
no one's told you.
Oh.
Right? Because we don't. Because when
okay, that's very sad. We've driven all over the world on both sides of the road, everywhere, and we don't bother necessarily signaling. We just merge onto the road.
But when
and
we learned to drive here in Canada,
we'll signal to leave.
I
signal to leave the roundabout. Yeah. But for going onto the roundabout, I figure everyone behind me knows I'm going on it.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
So, having learned to drive in Australia, the expectation is that you are going to turn your right signal indicator to enter it, so people know that you're turning. And then when you go to exit, you turn your left one on to exit out of it, so they know you're turning left to exit out. The other thing is, if you're going,
actually, they're not always that way. That's what I meant by Australia is different. Because I'm now visualizing, I have actually, so because you're on the left-hand side of the road, you're going left. Yeah, so if you're on the right-hand side of the road, you're actually going right.
Now I need to drive to Collingwood just to experience it. So our friends in Collingwood confirm for me.
Yes.
Because now I'm all turned around.
Yes, so you have to go right to go in because you're driving the right side of the road, so you enter it on your right. So you would be signaling basically left to get into
signaling left and then signaling right to exit out.
Uh-huh. I was just going to say, I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm Australian. It is what it is. No.
You're Can-Aussie.
I am a Can-Aussie. And so the other thing, too, is when you're in Queensland, and I'm pretty sure it's all of Australia, here in Canada, and I believe in the U.S. as well, when you come to a red light, you stop, but you can still turn right after you stop.
Except for Quebec.
In Australia, you cannot.
Okay, so it's like Quebec.
Yes. So you get to a red light, you need to stay there and not turn until the light turns green.
It's so hard.
Right? It's like painful.
Once you've been able to like turn right on a red, I know.
Painful. I love roundabouts because it's like almost eliminated stop signs in like side streets and stuff, which is amazing.
And every time we've traveled overseas, there are certain areas and certain cities and certain countries primarily. So Spain's really big like that. We'll travel from one city to another, and it's just I realize after like a day of traveling, oh my God, I have not hit one traffic light.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing but
amazing
roundabouts and other turns
just
and
keeps
turns
traffic
out.
flowing.
It does.
So the other thing that's really cool, when you are a Canadian driving in Australia, there are these really amazing signs. I didn't get the one, and I told Mark he was supposed to take photos because I drove everywhere while we were there. He's just more comfortable because I did more driving when we lived there because he took the bus to work every day. He's just like, you drive, you're comfortable, you know where you're going and do the thing. So I tried to get him to get a photo. Almost every median that we came up to said keep left. It was a really beautiful reminder to me to not drive on the wrong side of the road.
Yes.
And then every exit, like on-ramp or off-ramp, where you're not supposed to go, so like say it's the on-ramp and you're going to come back, or off-ramp when you're going to come on, it has a big sign that says, wrong way, go back. I love these Aussies.
Big flashing
there's no like BS. Keep left here, wrong way, go back. And they actually have lines drawn at side streets where if they want you to keep it clear, it's like keep clear. Right on the road, so there's no debate. I love it's so clearly signed there. That's really helpful for a tourist who's driving there. One other thing about traveling in Brisbane or getting around in Brisbane, I have a video that we can look at. The City Cat is a ferry system that you can take as public transportation. So if you've got like a Go Transit type bus pass, you can get on and get off the ferry. So there's no traffic.
Oh, that's cool.
So your time that they're going to arrive is almost always bang on because there's nothing that could possibly, I mean, I'm sure delays can happen, but traffic is not a thing. And they've now expanded their city ferry, our City Cat, to further out along the Brisbane River. So you're literally traveling along the Brisbane River to go to work, and they've got like similar to what you'd see in bigger cities like Toronto where there's transit parking lots. You get on the transit and go. They've got the same thing there for the city cat.
Oh, that's
and
a
then
cool
if you're a tourist, they've now got what's called the city hopper, which is where this video was taken from, where you can get on just within the main kind of tourist, like the CBD, which is a downtown, the central business district. You can get on, and there's like 6 stops where it goes to for free.
Oh, cool.
So as tourists, we hopped on, we went the wrong way, so we had a little bit of a scenic tour, hence the nice video we got. But it's a way to travel that's easy and fun and quite frankly cool because it gets so hot. You go out on the water, it's like
true.
open and that kind of thing.
I think meant cool, like cool. But
well, it is cool.
Like
it's
you
cool,
meant like cool,
different,
like
and also
temperature-wise.
like windy because you're on the water.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Yeah, really cool.
I like that idea. Yeah, because I remember seeing like the clip of your video, and it was all just. I thought it was just going to be like, okay, she went on a ferry.
Yeah,
but now that I realize that that's just an
public transportation.
Yeah, that is
People
very.
hop on it to go to work. You see a lot of tourists. Like
yeah,
when we had the kids,
that's a very cool idea.
And we'd go from South Bank to the CBD, for example. We would just hop on the ferry to go across if the kids were hot and tired. And
I love the idea.
It's very cool. And so, another way of doing public transportation. I mean, I know certainly when I take public transportation, my biggest complaint is when I get on a bus and I'm like, I'm in the same traffic and it's hot and gross. At least if I was in my car, I would.
Oh my God, yeah, it would be longer and
But
less
a few of the
smelly
folks we talked to actually do take the city cat to work, and I know Mark would have if it had been available when we lived there.
So I'm sure that you've had
enough.
No, I say you haven't had your fill of Australian information, but it probably kind of tackled all of the things that you wanted to know or wanted to expect about if you were planning a trip to go to Australia. What am I going to eat? What am I going to see? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What are my priorities? What's the weather like? All of the things that you may be questioning about what it's going to be like way over there down under, you probably had a chance to answer it in these last 2 episodes.
And if not, just email us or ping us on social media. Exactly. I got more to talk about, I promise.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that at least kind of gave you a little taste of what actually it's like to be there, and as opposed to just a standard tourist. So I didn't do an Australian episode as much when I was there. Because I'm going there as the first time as a tourist. You went there as someone who lived there for a while and now you're going back as a tourist. So it gave you a different lens to look at things and kind of share things about what the locals might be doing and sharing. So I really appreciate that. So thanks for bringing back all your snacks and drinks for me.
It was so much fun. And what an excuse. I said to Mark every time I took another video, he's like, oh, you're doing another video, another picture. I'm like, podcast, dude, I got to do it.
It's all about the show.
So the coolest thing about being over there, and I mentioned this, I think, in the last episode, is rekindling of friendships and the feeling of going back to Queensland and the people. And so the last photo I have to share with you, which I'm going to cut like my leg out of because it's really not attractive, but is this friendship. So this was after my girlfriend Sam and I had gone to the market. We both happened to buy rings that we liked. And then we got a manicure and we took pictures of our manicures and didn't realize that our rings were in there as well too. But like, again, like the friendships that you can experience like across the world. This is the cool thing about
travel.
Travel and social media and, this opportunity to reconnect in the same way that we couldn't have done 15, 20 years ago. So it was a really cool experience in that regard as well, too.
And so now that if you're in the introduction of podcasts as an idea with online radio, so now you can be listening to this show and learning about Australia from wherever you're listening to in the world, which I think that's kind of cool.
That was my goal, was to kind of have people experience Australia.
Yeah, exactly. And then now her friends in Australia can be listening to us crazy Canadians sitting around drinking, and they're thinking like, no, we have to come to Canada because we kind of all like think and drink the same way. Think and drink same way, right? So make sure you're listening to us on all the podcast players. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you're rating us so we can kind of give us our little 5 stars because we'd always like that. It'll help us boost our ratings. And make sure that you're following us on all the social media channels as well because we kind of post a lot of things and behind the scenes takes and other kind of pictures. We're thinking of getting into Pinterest in the new year.
Yes,
I know that's her thing. I'm
a wedding planner. Pinterest is my drug.
I have too many social media channels that I manage, but I do want to because I understand it and I get it, but I just worry that it's going to be too much work for me. But anyway, I'm going to try it. But anyway, so make sure you follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, and we are on Facebook, of course. So you can follow us there, and then you'll get a lot of behind the scenes or things and conversation starters, or you'll get heads up on any of the live shows and other events that we're working on.
Or reach out to us on social media and let us know what other country you want us to profile.
Oh, road trip.
Right.
Exactly.
Cheers.
We're in there. Anyways, see you next week. Cheers.
What do you think about us podcasters doing this whole video thing? If you like what you see and you still have wine in your glass, there's more videos down below that you can always keep up. Or subscribe and you'll never miss another one.